Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for joining me for today's webinar on the June 2021 Magazine Publisher Statement Filing Overview. If you are new to filing or just need a refresher, this webinar will be a great webinar of the online filing tool for you. Before I get started, I just have a few housekeeping notes. I do have everyone on mute. However, if you feel free to type in your questions, I will try to address the questions during the webinar, but if I run out of time, I will definitely address your questions offline. Also, this webinar is being recorded, and I will be sending a follow-up webinar email that includes a copy of the PowerPoint presentation as well as a webinar recording. So with that, let's get started. So our agenda today, the main thing that we want to get through today is the various sections in the filing tool. So I'm going to go through each section in the filing tool and give you some tips on how to navigate the filing tool that we have for the magazine filing. Also, briefly, just going to touch base about some of the backup reports that you'll need to complete your statement filing. Then I'm going to log out of my PowerPoint presentation and actually go into a live demo of the filing tool so you can see it in action. Then real briefly, I'm just going to touch base about where is your statement once it's released in AAM's database, which is known as the Media Intelligence Center. And then also to refer you to some good reference materials that we have online. We have a great filing guide that's a great reference to use when you are filing. So magazine publications need to file publisher statements with AAM. They are 6-month ending publisher statements, and the first one is December 31st. And the second one, which we are going to be coming upon, is the 6-month ending June 30th. The December 31st one is due January 31st, and the one that's for June is due July 31st. But I want to point out that if the due date happens to fall on a weekend date, then the due date is going to be the following business day. So for example, since the current July 31st, 2021, it's a Saturday, your due date is going to be Monday, August 2nd, 2021. Now to get started for filing, what you're going to want is your previous filed publisher statement with AAM. It's a great guide, a great reference. Usually there's not a lot of deviation in categories. Your distribution really doesn't fluctuate that much. And so it's just a great guide to have. And you can find that on AAM's website in the Media Intelligence Center. Also, to log into the filing center, you're going to want AAM's main website, which is at auditedmedia.com. And when you go onto our main website, you're going to see a login. You're going to click on the login and it gives you two options. So if you want to pull your latest released publisher statement report, you're going to go into the Media Intelligence Center. But to file your data, you're going to want the Publishing Filing Center. And that's what we're going to be spending most of our time in today. Once you log into the Publishing Filing Center, it's going to ask for credentials. Oops, sorry about that. Got a little ahead of myself there. So when you enter your credentials in the filing tool, what you're going to want is your member number, username, and password for that publication. I do want to point out that the username and password for the Publishing Filing Center is different than the one you use for the Media Intelligence Center. So if you're unsure of what your credentials are for either the Media Intelligence Center or the Publishing Filing Center, just let me know and I'm happy to help you out. You can contact me in my email address at sandy.liking@auditedmedia.com or at 224-366-6342. Now, once you log into the filing tool, you're going to notice, and I'm going to expand this a little bit, you have three main components of the filing tool. You have the general information, you have analysis, and review and submit. The very first thing that you're going to do when you get into the filing tool and under general information, you're going to start with publication information because it's going to ask various questions about your publication, and this helps set up the information in the filing tool. Some of the questions it's going to ask is how many issues, excluding special issues, are in the publisher statement period. So if you're a monthly publication, it would be 6 for the 6-month filing period. If you're bi-monthly, if you're only published 6 times a year, it would be 3, etc. Next, it's going to ask what circulation types will you be reporting? Do you have print or do you have digital? Digital non-replica? Do you have all 3? Maybe just 2? Make sure you check the box by each applicable circulation type. If you do not check a particular circulation type, it's not going to show up in the filing tool. So just make sure you check the applicable boxes. The same thing holds true with this question. What circulation categories will you be reporting? Are you reporting paid subscriptions? Do you have verified subscriptions? If you do, are they public place, individual use, paid single copy sales, analyzed non-paid? If you have all of them, you check all the boxes. If you only have some, just check the ones that are applicable to your publication. The other thing in the filing tool that you'll see is it's going to ask, it's going to ask information about your publication, the parent company, address, etc. The one thing that I'm going to want to point out that each section the filing tool has is the save feature. It has save and continue. So if you remember anything from my filing webinar today, is to save and save often. The filing tool has a tendency to time out after a few minutes of inactivity, so just make sure you constantly save. The next section under general information is rate base. Rate base, if you have a declared rate base, you do need to report that. You would go ahead and put what your rate base is and the number of issues in the statement period, and it will calculate your rate base for you. If you do not have a rate base, you're not declaring a rate base, then you check the box saying that you don't have a rate base. So in this example, I just happen to have a little snippet of my rate card that I made up for AAM magazine. My rate base is 800,000. So this is my declared rate base. So this is what I would need to report in the filing tool under rate base. And this is what your rate base and how it's going to look in the printed document. It's going to show your rate base. And then also too, we have variance to rate base. What this is, it takes into account your rate base and compares it to the total circulation. And it's going to be a positive or a negative variance to the rate base. I'm going to blow this up just a little bit here. On general information, right after rate base is average circulation, but I'm going to skip that and go to issue by issue. I always find it helpful to do issue by issue first and then go back to the average circulation. Now, this issue by issue section is kind of the heart of the publisher statement. It's where you're going to declare what your distribution is by paid print, if you have any digital, verified distribution, if you have single copy sales, and you're going to report your distribution for each issue that you have during the statement period. So this one is a typical 6-month publisher statement. But if I had, say, like I had 7 issues, you would click this plus icon to bring up another box so you can put in your information for that 7th issue. If you had only 5 issues during the statement period, then you can use the red X to get rid of one of the issues, and then you can just tap to delete an issue. Also, for those that are part of our rapid report program that you've input your distribution on a monthly basis with the AAM, you can import that data and that will populate your boxes here for each of your issues. Also, you're going to notice is special issue. Special issue it's an issue in addition to your normal regular issue. It's usually on the newsstand out longer. It's typically like an anniversary issue. You would go ahead and report your special issue, but one thing, your special issue does not get calculated in your 6-month averages. So just want to point that out. If you do have a special issue, you would go ahead and mark which issue it is, and it just to let you know it does not get calculated though in the average circulation. Everyone is though going to have an analyzed issue. An analyzed issue is where you can select one issue during the statement period. AAM doesn't care which issue you select, but you're going to use that issue later on in that publisher statement when you look at your geographic analysis. You're going to take that analyzed issue And you're going to break that down by state and by province if you for distribution. So again, everyone has to select an analyzed issue. Again, it's up to you what issue you want to select. We just ask that it's within the statement period. So you would indicate which issue you would like to use as your analyzed issue for the geographic analysis. Once you start entering information in the filing tool for the issue by issue, it's going to calculate your averages. And that's why I always like doing issue by issue first, because the averages that are included in here should match what you report in the average circulation. Just here, just real briefly, this is what it's going to look like, your issue by issue when it's printed in the hard copy of the publisher statement. Now we're going to go, I'm going to kind of make this bigger. Now we're going to go back to the average circulation. This is where you're going to take your report, your distribution for your 6-month average distribution, whether you have individual subscriptions, if you have any association, etc. And also it's going to show if you had any verified public place subscriptions and verified individual use subscriptions. If you happen to have any verified public place or individual use, we ask that you break it down into further detail, like if it's a hotels, if it's restaurants, etc. That we do have this other public place, but we ask that you fill out the other one. You have at least 5 of these categories broken out before you use other. Same thing with individual use descriptions. Just indicate which one that it is applicable to your publication. So the numbers that you put in here, when you total your paid, total paid print should match what you put in issue by issue. So I like this slide because it really does show, here's the issue by issue, and it shows how the calculated averages, how they get reported then into the average circulation side. So here we have 1.935 million for paid print, and here is my individual subscriptions, and here's my total paid print is 1.935. Same thing with verified, 155,011, and here is my verified. So I just wanted to point out how the issue by issue does tick and tie to your average circulation section. When you're to get ready to input information about your issue by issue and your average circulation, you're going to need your own circulation history reports that is from your publication. Each publication has their own way of keeping track of their distribution by issue. Some house this information at their own publications. Some use fulfillment centers. But keep in mind that when you are entering information in the issue by issue and the average circulation for subscriptions, make sure you deduct any duplicate subscriptions and any credit cancels. Single copy sales, for paid single copy sales, it is net sales, meaning returns are deducted. And if you had any self-adjustments that you have, you would need to apply those as well. The last section in the general information section is regional and demo editions. This is only for those publications that have a regional edition or a demographic edition. You would report this in this section. I do want to point out that even though you do file information, if you do have a regional or demographic edition, it is not printed on the hard copy of your publisher statement, but it is housed in the Media Intelligence Center in the periodical analyzer section. Now we're going to get into analysis section. Analysis section here, we have prices, we have geographic information, new and renewal information, and notes. So here for the pricing information, just fill out what your average single copy price is, your subscription information, etc. And then this is what it looks like in the hard copy of the publisher statement. The next section is a real important section of the publisher statement, which is the geographic analysis. This is when you take in that issue by issue, you selected your analyzed issue. You're going to take that analyzed issue and you're going to break it down by distribution by state, Or if you can, a Canadian publication, you're going to break it down by province. I do want to point out that in this section, you just, oops, sorry about that. You can manually data enter your information by state, the distribution by state, or you can go ahead and download a template from AAM, and it's an Excel template. And then you can go ahead and copy and paste your information that you have on your own records, copy into our Excel file, save that Excel file, and then upload it. And when you upload that Excel file, what it would do is populate this information. So it's up to you if you want to manually enter this, or if it would be easier to input information in an Excel file and then upload it. Also, too, I want to point out that when you are for the breakdown of the geographic analysis, you have paid subs, your verified subs, and single issue. You also do report digital, but you're not going to report digital by state or province. It's just going to be a total line item. And I do, last thing I want to point out about the geographic analysis is that, again, this information, it is not going to be on the hard copy of the publisher statement, but it is in our Media Intelligence Center in the periodical analyzer section. And this, we have various advertisers, media buyers that go into our Media Intelligence Center on a daily basis, and they do access this information. So I do want to point out that even though you do file information, some of it's going to be on the hard copy of the publisher statement, and some is just going to be exclusively in the Media Intelligence Center in the periodical analyzer. And the main reason for that, for the geo, is you can export it into an Excel format, and you can do various comparisons, year-over-year comparisons, do competitive analysis. So that is why it is in the Media Intelligence Center in the periodical analyzer section. The next is, if you have paid subscriptions, what you're going to report is the total gross subscriptions sold during the statement period. So what does that mean? That means the total subscriptions you received that you sold during a 6-month period, and it's broken down 3 different ways. So one is, well, what's the duration of the subscription? Was it 1 to 6 months? Was it 7 months? Was it 12 months, etc.? So my example, we had 3,000 was 1 to 6 months, and then the remainder 25,000 was, or I'm sorry, it was 30,000 was 1 to 6 months, and then we had 12 months that was at 25,000 for a grand total of 55,000. If you see this total, this 55,000 is the same in A, it's the same total in B, and the same total in C. Again, it's taking that information and it's just asking different information about your total subscriptions that you received during the statement period. The next one is use of premiums. Did you order it with a premium, without a premium? And the last one is channels. How did you receive the subscription? Was it direct mail? Was it online subscription? Or was it renewal? Again, this information you just fill out based on the reports that you have, and A, B, and C will match in total. This information will not be printed on the hard copy of the publisher statement, but it is housed in our Media Intelligence Center in the periodical analyzer section. Next, we have notes. Notes is this miscellaneous information that you want to talk about to expand further about your distribution in the publisher statement. I do want to point out the one note that everyone is going to have, and let me expand this, is the average non-analyzed, non-paid note. What this is, you're going to put in what is your miscellaneous sample copies, your advertiser copies, those miscellaneous copies that it's not part of your analyzed non-paid, it is just non-paid, non-analyzed distribution. Again, it's miscellaneous sample copies, your advertising copies, etc. And you would put it here. Also, too, in the notes section, we have various notes that you could choose from. When you open up the notes section, it's going to have previous notes that we had on file from you from the last publisher statement. If you decided it's no longer applicable, you can use a red X to delete it. Or if there's a note that you're like, I don't see there's a particular note in here that I really want, go into add notes and you can expand this and you can see the various different notes we have available. Also too, if there's one that doesn't fit your needs, we do have miscellaneous. So that was analysis. We talked about prices, geographic, the new and renewal, and notes. Now we're getting into final stages of getting ready to submit your information. So we're in the review and submit section now. This section here under review and submit is publisher comments. Now these comments do not get printed anywhere. They're not in our Media Intelligence Center or on the hard copy. These notes are notes that you would put in that you would want us to know that would help during the review process of your statement. Because what happens when you submit your publisher statement to AAM, it goes to our review team and they review your information and they compare it to what we previously had on file for you. And if we notice major changes in distribution, missing categories, things of that nature, we're going to contact you and say, hey, you may want to double check this to make sure you're not missing something. So if any information that would be helpful for us during the review process, go ahead and put it here. If you have nothing, and if everything's kind of status quo, you can leave it blank. The next section under review and submit is upload files. What this is mainly used for is on your hard copy of your publisher statement, you can have the logo of your publication on there. So if you would like your logo of your publication, or if you have an updated logo, go ahead and upload that file. So you would choose file and then find your logo and then upload it. And we do ask that for the logo that's in a JPEG format or a PNG format. This is the main section under review and submit that you're going to refer to quite a bit. This is the proof section. This is view data. View data, you can access this at any time during the filing process. And it allows you to go and see what the filing tool has calculated for you based on the information that you have entered in the various sections in the filing tool. So it's just a great way to double check each section. If you're missing something, go back into that particular section and update it. And then you can go back to view data and you can see how it was updated. I highly recommend that you use this print icon to print out your view data information because it's a great resource to have as backup. And also, once your statement's released, you won't have access to this view data section anymore. But it's good to have as a reference, especially when you're filing your next publisher statement, so you can kind of see it as a guide. This print icon, you can print out this information or you can save it as a PDF. Under review and submit, we also do have a view error section. You want to see where this says no errors found before you do submit. If you do see a message in here, just make sure you address it. In this example here, we have analyzed issue must be selected in the issue by issue panel. So what that would mean is I would have to go back into the issue by issue section and then make sure I select my analyzed issue. Now you're at that final stage. Once you're satisfied with all the information, you have no view errors, you are ready to submit your information to AAM. To do that, we ask that you put your name and title, and then right below the title is to check that box. And what that is, that basically is your electronic signature, and you're attesting to the best of your abilities that the information you put into the filing tool is true and accurate. We do ask that you also put in your email address so we can send you a confirmation saying that yes, your statement was submitted. And then you're going to click the blue button, Submit Publisher Statement to AAM. Now, like I said before, once you submit your publisher statement, it does go through a review process. During the review process, if everything's okay, the reviewer is going to contact you and send you an email and say, hey, you have one more opportunity to look at the information before we release it into our database, which is the Media Intelligence Center. So in the email, they're going to direct you to go back into the filing tool and go into view data. and just double check the information you entered. And if you're fine with it, just say, yes, I agree, go ahead and release it. Or no, I decline and I have corrections, and go ahead and make your corrections. One thing I do want to point out, when you are doing your filing of your data, it's also a good opportunity to update your brand view profile. Again, a brand view profile, what this is, it's an interactive, customized, and free interface in AAM's database, the Media Intelligence Center. So basically, when you go into the Media Intelligence Center, you pull up your statement. If you have a full blown out brand view profile, it really kind of customize your publication. It provides more information about your publication and our database. The overview section, what it does, you can put a blurb about your publication. Also, too, we have where you can link your media kit right here, and click on the media kit, and it would go directly to your media kit. Also, too, you can put graphics on the overview page. And then also we have various tabs. The circulation tab, that's going to be a summarization of your latest released distribution for your 6-month statement. And this will automatically update with each release statement. If you're part of the Rapid Report program or the MM360 program, you will have a separate tab for that information as well. The other thing that's great about BrandView is you're going to have unique address for your BrandView link that you can go ahead and send to any of your clients, your staff, and they can open it at any time and have access to this information. If they're not an AAM client, they would still have access to your BrandView profile, but the only thing they would not have access to is the reports library. In the reports library, this is where your final publisher statement is housed. We do have some great media resources for, especially to help with filing. We have prototypes. We have a statement filing guide that goes step by step. So I will show you that, where that information is located. Also, too, you can always contact me. I can conduct one-on-one training sessions with you to go over the filing with you. If you want as a double check, anything, just go ahead and give me a call, and I'm more than happy to set that up. Also, too, you can, besides contacting myself, you can also contact my colleagues, Tim Lean, we have Rebecca, or we have Shelley. We're all here to help. So if you have any questions, feel free to reach out. And the filing tool does open July 1st. So even though the due date is going to be technically at the, August 2nd, because July 31st, remember, is a Saturday, so it will be due August 2nd, you can go ahead and start entering information in as early as July 1st. So with that, I am going to switch over to a live demo of the filing tool. So bear with me as I switch out of my PowerPoint. So the filing tool is actually going to open July 1st. So you have a few days before you can access it. But so I'm in a demo mode right now, but what I'm showing you is an exact replica of what you will see when you enter information in the live filing tool. Also, too, for my example, I am using Taste of Homes purely as an example. So any information I put in, it's just for demonstration purposes only. So when you go into the filing tool, it wants to know your information, your credentials. So again, if you're not sure what those are, you can always contact us, and we're more than happy to provide that for you. So I'm going to go ahead and click Login. Now we have some more options on the right-hand side. What we want, though, is File Publisher Statement Claims. So you click on Publisher Statement File Claims, and it gives you a welcome page. Now, most people skip the welcome page, but I do want to point out that if you click on Support Center, it goes right away to our main website for resources for magazines. And here's a publishing statement filing guide. It goes step by each section of the filing tool. So it's just a great resource for you that you can look at. Also, too, we have prototypes if you want to see what the actual publisher statement hard copy is going to look like. You can click on a prototype and you can see an example of how the layout's going to look. So that's the welcome page. And as I said in my PowerPoint, it's made up of three main sections. The filing tool, we have general information and circulation data. We have the analysis and review and submit. You always have to start though in general information and do publication information first. This is the starting point of the filing tool. When you address the questions that it's asked, it helps sets up the rest of the filing tool. So in my example, how many issues, excluding a special issue, are in the publishing statement period? Well, my publication only publishes 6 times a year. So for this publisher statement period, it's going to be 3 issues. What circulation types will you be reporting? Do you have print? Do you have digital issue? Do you have digital non-replica? For my example, I just selected the print and digital. I did not have digital non-replica selected. If you do have digital non-replica, you want to go ahead and check that box. Remember, if a box is not checked, it's not going to show up in the filing tool. The next question, what circulation categories will you report? Do you have paid subscriptions? Do you have verified? If you have verified, are they public place, individual use? Do you have paid single copy? Do you have analyzed non-paid? Well, for my demonstration, I selected all. And then the rest is just information about the publication, the name of the parent company and the address. Also the field serve. Field serve typically does not change statement to statement. It is basically when you first become a client of AAM, your field serve pretty much stays the same. If you do have any changes to your field serve, just let us know and we can make that update. Also to remember to save, we have save, or if I just click on save, it says successfully save or save and continue. So just remember, if you get anything out of my webinar, to save and save often. Next section under general information then is rate base. Does your publication declare a rate base? You would fill it in here. You would just go ahead and put what the rate base is and the number of issues in that statement period. If not, let's say I don't have a rate base, I'm going to delete this. I would check this box if I don't have a rate base. So again, either everyone has to look at the rate base section. You either have a rate base or you don't have a rate base. If you don't have a rate base, check the box. If you do have a rate base, go ahead and fill this information in. I'll go ahead and put no rate base. Next section is the average circulation. I'm going to skip that and go into my issue by issue. So again, if I had rapid report, you can go ahead and click import rapid report data, and this would go ahead and populate. And that's only for those who are part of our rapid report program. If I had to add an issue, I go ahead and click the plus icon. It's to delete, use the red X. Also too, I have no special issues, but my analyzed issue, and I'm going to select April through May, my April-May issue. If I wanted to do my June, July, just go ahead and select the appropriate circle, but I'm going to go ahead and do April and May. And then you start typing in your information that's applicable for your distribution. Again, you're going to be using your own circulation history reports that you have. So we just remember that if you have paid distribution, make sure there's no duplicate subs included, single copy sales, make sure it's net sales. So you're going to deduct returns. You use your reports and start filling in this information. And as you notice, as you start typing in your information, it calculates the average at the bottom. So the averages that are reported here will need to tie to what you report in the average circulation. So I'm going to go ahead and click Save. Now I'm going to go back to my average circulation and I'm going to fill out this information. Paid distribution, I had individual subscriptions. I also had a little bit of association and some schools. But if you notice, I didn't fill in the rest because that wasn't applicable to my publication. I didn't have any club, I didn't have deferred or multi-title digital. But if you look, when you total all my paid subscriptions, the total is 873,666. And that number should look familiar because that number is exactly what my issue by issue section is for my paid print. And then you would go ahead and do the same thing for public place. You would fill in what your information is for public place. Fill this out. Same thing for individual use if it's applicable to your title. Also to if you have paid single copy sales, and then any analyzed non-paid distribution. Once you have this all completed, go ahead and say save and continue. You either save or save and continue. The last section in general information is the region and demographic edition. So if you happen to have a regional edition or demographic edition, hit the plus icon and fill in this information and then go ahead and click save. My publication does not. Honestly, I would say majority of publications don't have regional and demographic editions, but if you do, you need to report it and go ahead and report it in this section here. I'm going to go ahead and click save and continue. Oops. Then delete that and click save and continue. Here's my pricing information. So you're going to fill out your pricing information about your average single copy price, what the single copy sale price is, your subscriptions, and then click save and continue. Here's the geographic analysis. I do want to spend a little bit of time on this because this is a good chunk of time. Most of the time you're going to be spent in the filing tool is with the geographic analysis section. This is when you take in the issue by issue. I selected my April-May issue. I'm going to take that issue and I'm going to break my distribution down by state. If I was a Canadian publication, I would break it down by province. I'm going to break it down by state, by paid subs, my verified subs, single copy subs, and my analyzed non-paid by state. And if you scroll down, you're going to notice that I do have digital, but it's a total. It's not broken out by state. Now, this will take a few minutes for you to enter the information. One of the things, though, as a quick, as a time saver, what you can do is download the template here and open it up. And what this is, it's going to be an Excel spreadsheet that AAM has provided. It gives you a shell of the geographic analysis section here. You're going to click Enable Editing, and then you can copy and paste the information from your own reports into here. And then save this file. And then what you would do is then go choose your file and then click Upload. And what will happen is this will automatically populate. So again, it's your preference whether you want to manually go ahead and data enter the information, or if it's easier for you to input information through an Excel file, download our Excel file template. Once you have this all completed, make sure you save. I highly recommend that if you're manually entering this information, after a few states, save it. Because this is a lot of information you're going to be putting in, and you want to make sure you save that information. And then a lot of us are doing multitasking, so you get taken away with a phone call, and you come back a half hour later, and you realize you didn't save. You're going to have to redo this. So just remember to save and save often. Here's that new and renewal section. This is for your total gross subscriptions that you sold during the statement period. It's asking how many subscriptions you sold, the paid subscription you sold during this statement period. And it's asking 3 different questions. The first question is the length of the subscription. The second question is, did you use a premium or not? And then how did you receive the subscription? Was it ordered through direct mail? Was it through an online order, renewals, etc.? So the totals in A, B, and C need to match. Next, we have notes. My notes are going to be carried over from my previous statement that I had filed. If I no longer have multi-title digital program, I just can use the red X to delete it. And it says, are you sure you want to delete the explanatory? You say yes. If you find there's a note that you need to add, go ahead and click notes. You're like, oh, you know what? I made a mistake. I do have multi-title. We do have multi-title in here, and you go ahead and click on that and fill in the information and then click save. One thing I want to point out that everyone in the notes section is going to have needs to have average, non-analyzed, non-paid. This is that miscellaneous copies You have like your miscellaneous samples, advertising copies. These are copies that are not reported anywhere else in the publisher statement, but here. We do use this number so we can basically tie back to your printer's invoices and things like that. So that's why we do use this information. But everyone would have an average non-analyzed non-paid. You do need to fill this information out. Once you have everything filled out, now you're ready to go in that review and submit section. We're in that final stage here. Publisher comments. Publisher comments, remember, they don't get printed anywhere. They're not in the Media Intelligence Center. It's truly information you want to let AAM know. So when they're going through the review process, they'll know, like if you had a rate-based change, price change, distribution change, things of that nature. If nothing really major changed, you can leave this blank and do save and continue. Logo, what this would be is if your publication happens to have a logo that you want of your publication name on the hard copy document of the publisher statement, you would upload it here. Or if your logo is changed and you want it to be on your printed document, you would also upload it here. We ask that the logo be a JPEG or PNG format. If you are set, if you don't upload any logo here, we're going to use what we have on file. So just to let you know. The next section to review and submit is view data. View data truly is the proof section of for the filing of all the information you have put through the various sections in the filing tool. It has each section that you've entered data in, and it allows you to look at it, allows you to proof your information. Again, you can access view data at any time during when you're filing your information. Here is the print icon. I highly recommend that when you have finished entering your information, you're satisfied with it, go ahead and print this information out. You can either print it out or you can save it as a PDF. I usually just save this information as a PDF. I can have it on my laptop then. And what's great about this is it's backup information for you. And also too, you can use this as a guide for next time you file your next publisher statement. After view data, you go into view errors. Well, if you notice, there's a lot of red. The view errors truly is just telling you information that's saying, hey, before you submit, you really got to make sure that you resolve each of the messages here. It's the same, for example, total average paid digital field. It's not matching the count that I had in my issue by issue panel. So it's just telling you things if things are not ticking in time. So if your issue by issue is not ticking in time to your average circulation, it's going to let you know. So make sure that all this is addressed. And eventually this, once you resolve all your issues, then it will say no errors found. So you want to see the message no errors found before you submit information to AAM. The last section here under review and submit is statement submission. In this is you're going to put your name, your title, and then you're going to check that box. Remember that checked box is basically your electronic signature, and you're attesting that to the best of your abilities, the information that you've put in the filing tool here is true and accurate. It's going to ask for your email address because we're going to send you confirmations to you once your statement's submitted, and then you would click on the blue submit button to submit your statement. Also too, if you want or update your BrandView profile, this is also where you have the opportunity to update your BrandView. If for those who are new to BrandView or not sure how to go about changing your BrandView profile, you can always contact me or my colleagues, and we're more than happy to walk you through that process. So that is the filing tool in a nutshell. So I do want to show you real briefly, we just have a couple minutes here of where your information is located once it's released. It is housed in AAM's database, which is the Media Intelligence Center. So you go into auditedmedia.com, click on login, and again, here's your two choices, Publishing Filing Center or Media Intelligence Center. Now that our statement's released, you're going to go into the Media Intelligence Center. It's going to ask for your credentials for the Media Intelligence Center. Note those are different than the ones we use for the filing tool. So if you're not sure, just contact us and we're more than happy to provide that. Once you sign in, the main thing to do is go into search by bar and to start typing in the title of your publication. So I'm using Taste of Home as my example. I'm going to go ahead and click enter. If I don't check the box next to Taste of Homes, what it will do, it'll bring up the Reports Library tab, but also it'll bring up your brand view profile. So the brand view profile, what's pretty cool, it has an overview of the publication. If I click on the media kit, it's going to go directly to Taste of Homes media kit. The circulation tab is pulling information from the latest release publisher statement, and this will automatically update. Same thing with Rapid Report. If you're part of our Rapid Report program, it's going to fill in this information. Same thing with the MM360. If you're part of that program, it will automatically update with each information you supply for that section. Reports Library, everyone will have a Reports Library tab, and what this is where your actual hard copy of your publisher statement and audit report are housed. So in this example here for my publisher statement, if I click on 12/31, you want to click on the date, it's going to bring up your hard copy of your publisher statement. And then you can go ahead and download that. Oops. One thing to note though, if you want the geographic information, it's not on your publisher statement. So what we need to do, we're going to go back to my Media Intelligence Center. And next to the title of Taste of Homes, I'm going to check the box right by it. So that brings up my Analyze Data button. I click on Analyze Data button, and now I can have this periodical analyzer tab. I click on that, and then there's various reports that you can pull. But for the geo, scroll down just a little bit to geographic analysis, and here's the geographic analysis. Go ahead and select all, click submit, and it's going to show you your latest released geographic information we have for you. And then you can go ahead and export that into Excel. So that's just real briefly. We do have a separate webinar regarding the Media Intelligence Center, but I just wanted to show you just real briefly what happens to your information once it is released. So that is filing magazine data in a nutshell. We did go through quite a bit of information in a short amount of time. So if you do have any questions about filing, you can contact myself or any of my colleagues, Tim, Rebecca, and Shelley, and we're more than happy to go through this information with you and help you go through the filing tool. So with that, that's the end of the webinar. So thank you so much for your time today. It truly has been a pleasure being able to talk to you for a few minutes about filing, and I hope you have a wonderful day.